um, emotional exertion today. Let's wait for a couple of minutes for more people to join in today, and then we can start. If you have any questions, you have the chat room. Feel free to type your questions because at the end of the session, I'll be taking questions from all of you. So if you just want to keep them in the parking while we conduct this session, it'll be really great. Okay. Hi, Rehan. Good afternoon. I see more people are joining in today. It's so good to see you all. Let's wait for a couple more minutes. All right. So I think it's about time we should be starting up now. Once again, hi everyone. My name is Sitinder Serawat. I am an emotional well-being guide and a mindfulness practitioner. I help people learn the art of emotional intelligence and mindfulness, which is something you can practice at your workplace, in your personal life, as well as your social life. And it's something I spoke about in my last webinar with Wedu. So today I'll be talking about the importance of emotional exertion, which is one step ahead of what we discussed in the last webinar. For those of you who are joining in just now, I like to bring it to your attention. First of all, I want to thank you, Wedu, for allowing me to conduct these webinar series. For those of you who are new to Wedu, Wedu is a non-profit on a mission to nurture leadership, development of women change makers. And they're spread it throughout the Asia. So we help women from Asia to develop their leadership abilities and make a change in the society. It's something I'm really proud to be part of because when you do certain things which gives it back to society, it's a very satisfying thing to do. So once again, thank you, Vedu. So we'll be starting up soon now. Just a quick recap on my last webinar, which was, I think, in September. We spoke about the awareness of your emotions. Uh, More importantly, we discussed how to be aware of your own emotions and how to find out what you experience in the moment. So this is something I've been working upon for the past 7 years, and it has totally changed my life for good. So it's something I'm happy to share, and there are people who got in touch with me from the past webinar, and I do welcome all of you to come and join me on LinkedIn if you prefer to. And if there is any way I can help you learn the art of emotional intelligence and mindfulness, I'll be really happy to help you in any way. So at the end of the session, I'll be sharing my LinkedIn profile link so you can connect with me there on LinkedIn. Okay. I'm so happy to see more people are coming in. Um, so I think we can start now. So, so today's topic of discussion is the importance of exertion, emotional exertion to be precise. And I'm using the word exertion because that sounds more like connecting with today's subject. For those of you who are getting some background noise, I have lots of pets in my home, and they want to come inside the room. So please bear with the background noise. So, talking about exertion again, it's something that each one of us do to a certain extent. We exert our emotions, we share our emotions with other people. Because the fact is, when you experience something, when you experience an emotion in your mind, it somewhere takes place in your body. For instance, if you are feeling scared of anything, so say you are scared of heights and you climb on top of a mountain or maybe a terrace, and you start to feel a little scared, a little fearful. But if you do not let that fear go, if you do not exert that fear, it eventually takes place in your body somewhere. So the next time you reach out to the same spot again, which makes you feel scared, your field will get revised again. You'll remind your body and mind that this is something I've experienced earlier, and it was still there. It was still residing in your body. And then once you reach to that same spot, or you experience that same event again, that emotion gets kind of it pops up again. It becomes alive. We can take an example of little kids, all those kids who experience some sort of fear, some sort of experience that is uncomfortable to them. It is proved by researchers that those experiences later in life come back to those kids, and it kind of troubles these kids. For instance, a kid, say, has seen some violence at home. Next, I mean, few years down in their early age, early 20s, and so they start to experience those same experiences. They start to feel that all those violences left a place somewhere in their mind, and it's something that they'll carry along their lives. But if you talk to a kid and if you tell them that this is something which is normal and this is not to be taken seriously, or maybe support them in some way to exert that kind of fear or whatever experience that they had, the kids will start to take it as a normal experience. So I think you get the point. The idea is to exert what you experience, because you make room for new emotions to come in. You make room for new experiences to come in. But in contrast, if you keep experiencing, you keep feeling sad and angry or happy or anything positive or negative, you do not share it. Eventually, your mind becomes so full of all the unexperienced, unexpressed emotions that it'll stop experiencing anything. It'll stop feeling anything. And I don't need to bring it up that without emotions, we are not humans. We're just something unnatural. So that's one important process of um exerting and sharing. But in today's session, I'll speak about three things about exertion. The first thing is what, which I just shared with you all. The second part would be why, which will include questions of the importance of exertion. Why do we need to share? Why do we need to exert our emotions? What is the benefit? And in the third section, I'll talk about how, which is equally important. So think of it as a three-step journey, and I'm happy to take questions from any stage if you feel I missed anything, or if you feel we can talk about it. So the importance of exertion is because uh, sharing and connecting with each other, it's something, it's a natural instinct for human beings. If you go back in the early evolution of human beings, our primates, we used to live in groups. You know, people who've uh, read a little bit about human evolution, you would see that we lived in the forests before the modern civilization came in. We lived with each other. We lived in groups, and that was important because we were so connected with each other. We could talk to each other even before the language was human language was introduced. We can still talk in sign languages. We still had mediums of sharing and talking to each other. And it became even more easier when the language was developed because we could give shape to our emotions as a vocal or as a physical word when we could write. And this opened up a whole new experience for human beings. But ever since the revolution happened, the industrial revolution, the electrical, the agriculture revolution happened, we started to become more productive, which was good thing. But at the same time, we started to become more busy, more occupied in things that we did. And then we started to make money. Then the internet revolution happened, and we started to make more money, and we started to do more things. And because we had a lot of money, we started to stuff our life with things, um, gadgets and smartphones and electronics and whatnot. So the more things we stuff in our life, the more time we need to spend with them. Otherwise, what's the point? So if you could see, ever since gaming was brought up, people started to spend days and days playing games and kind of stopped interacting with other human beings. And this is something we you could see in your daily life. Most of us also do that. And what that led us to was to disconnect from ourselves, most importantly, and disconnect from other human beings, which was against the human nature, the true human beings. That was in our DNA to share and connect and talk to each other. But this was the negative side of all the revolution that happened. This was a very unforeseen event that took place because no one thought that the more progress you make in life, the more modern the society becomes, we would be disconnecting ourselves from these things. Maybe we did, maybe we did not, but this is where we stand today. Now, what happened was the concept of individualism developed, and we started to live alone. We started to spend time with ourselves, which is okay, which is good. You need to have some private space for yourself. But sorry, but when we start to spend too much time with ourselves, we become so isolated that we go to work, we come back, and we live alone, we eat alone. They started to disconnect. And if you could see, I've said this earlier in my earlier videos and webinars, that there's a very silent transition that takes place. It happens when you think that you need a private space for yourself, you need a personal space, and from that stage to becoming self-isolated, first of all, meaning you think you don't need anyone, you want to live alone, that's fine, you need space for yourself. But then over time, gradually you realize that you've stopped liking other people's company. You've stopped enjoying other people being around you. So that what that does to you is that disconnects you from other people. And when you do that, it's against the uh, natural human nature. And that led us to all these mental disorders. Loneliness is one of the greatest and leading disorder that is um currently present in almost every. I was reading a study. Loneliness is one of the greatest stage or greatest mental disorder that has impacted almost every American youth. And I don't think the situation is much different elsewhere because we've all started to follow the modern civilization, which is fine, but taking care of your well-being is even more important. So that's something we're not paying attention to. Um, one thing I could, so I've got message. It will be better if you kindly give me more examples and okay, great. So what I would do is all these presentations, I try and keep the focus on a verbal discussion, a face-to-face, because presentation is something I can always do once you connect with me later. But I just thought it'll be great if we can connect with each other face-to-face and you can see me talk. And yes, I can give examples for sure. but thank you for a suggestion. Next thing I would want to bring in is the why part. So why do you need to do it? Like I just said, you have all these emotions going inside your mind and your body and finding a place somewhere. But what actually has stopped us from doing that? Um, you can thank technology. You can thank having more money. You can thank the century of career focused people, which is fine. I'm not against being modern or anything if I sound like that. But the point is, we've stopped prioritizing things in a natural way. So the first thing that comes in when we talk about a good life is your own well-being, and then comes your career, and then comes other things. But what we see now is people spending more time at workplace, working 12 hours and 14 hours and coming back only to sleep. So from working to live, we are now preferring living to work kind of life. That's not a case everywhere, but I'm talking about the youth, which because there's so much to confuse us. So many career choices to pick from, so many things that we need to take care of, so much to remember, so much noise out there, and so many things to distract you. Technology has given you lots of positive stuff to make our lives easier. In fact, we're living in the best time of the history because you want to change the world, you want to do anything. Take an example of Wedu. People are sitting at their homes and they're getting mentorship and they're getting everything which can help them change the world and change their own lives. But the dark side is people spend time on uh, just watching useless videos and playing games and all that kind of stuff, which is fine for some time, but that should not be the only priority we all need to have. So that's one thing. Uh, the other thing is when you do not share, when you go against the human instincts, you are kind of ignoring the most important fact, that is building relationships. Because when you share things, when you share emotions and you share experiences, you build relationship with each other. And that's how many relationships start. Actually, you start talking to other people, you start sharing about your personal life, your work life, whatever the setup is, and that's how you build relationships. So if you can't share, you can't have relationship, and if we cannot have relationships, I do not need to emphasize enough on this, that the quality of relationship define the quality of your life. And this goes in both in your personal life setup as well as your work life setup. And let's take an example from your personal life. Think of anyone inside your family, your parents, your siblings, or anyone you can think of, and see, if you have a good relationship with them, you care for them and they care for you in return, and you are being loved, you are being supported emotionally, and everything is healthy and natural. You are likely to do good things in life. You're likely to uh, your level of happiness is likely to go up. Your mind is likely to become more creative and productive, and you'll end up doing great things in your personal life as well as your work life. Now, take any relationship out of your family, your friends, your neighbors, your acquaintances, anyone outside family, and think of any strained relationship, and think of the quality of life you have if you do not have good friends, good people you could hang out with, good people you can speak with. That makes a huge impact in your personal life also, because your life is kind of divided into different sections. A part of you is more involved in your personal life. A part of you is there in your work life, which kind of define which kind of slice your life into two or three parts. You have a social life, you have a personal life, you have a work life, and most importantly we have a relationship with ourselves. So any part of your life, you can think of an unhealthy relation with your boss, your colleague, or anyone, and this is going to impact the quality of your life. You spend 8 to 9 hours at your workplace, and if those 8 to 9 hours are not uh, good time spent, if they do not involve good relationships, you're more likely to come home with an upset mind. And when you have an upset mind, you're likely to shadow the experience you had at your workplace. You're likely to carry it your home as well, and you're likely to behave in a certain way. It won't be as good as if you had a good relationship. So I think you get the point. Uh, but these things, uh, most people think of relationships, and most people think of the quality of life based upon the achievements you have, based upon how people care for you. But I think it starts with you. First of all, it starts with the quality of relationship you have with yourself, and then other people will treat you the same way. You can take an example of, say you were on a task and you failed for some reason. Now, if you keep on self criticizing yourself, if you keep on blaming yourself for that failure, you're not being kind enough for you. Other people will likely to kind of mimic that kind of respect and that kind of relation with you. So you would see that other people can only have a good relationship with you, but if you start to show them that you have a good relationship with yourself, if you show that you are kind enough to yourself to forgive yourself and to move on with the lesson learned, other people will likely to follow the same path. So most people do not talk about the relationship they have with themselves, but with other people, which is something we need to really prioritize in life. So spending time is very important with yourself, talking to yourself, and it takes us back to the last webinar that I conducted, where we spoke about the importance of understanding your emotions. Because any good relationship, or even any kind of relationship, good or bad, it's just a constant investment of emotions. Take your relationship with your parents or your friend. You are investing respect for your friend, you're respecting care and love and other emotions, which defines the quality, which defines the relationships quality. So if you are investing care for your friend, if you respect your friend, if you support your friend, you will likely to get the same thing in return. If you have a friend who understands your emotions. But if it's the other way around, then the quality would be not as good as when you invest positive emotions. So I think you get the point. The constant investment of emotions in any relationship, that defines the quality. So if you invest kindness for yourself, gratitude for yourself, if you respect yourself, respect enough to forgive yourself and move on if you make a mistake, or if you have gratitude for yourself for all the little things you have in life, I think you'll have more reasons to be happy than not. So this is a very first step towards having a good relationship. Um, for the past more than 7 years now, I have been studying human emotions and how people behave and how people think basis their emotional experiences. And it leads me to many discoveries and many facts that I'm happy to share. And I've put all of them together in a program that I'll be sharing very soon. But now let's come to the why part. Let's come that if you have quality of good relationship, if you share with other people, um, how does that impact your life? Why is it important? Um, the very first thing I spoke about was the bonding, the kind of relationship you build. But the second thing is that it creates a ripple effect, meaning when you share things with others, others are likely to share things with you also. And one principle that I always follow is you serve people first, and then people will likely to invest their trust in you, and then they serve you back. When I say serve, this means be there for somebody, to listen to the person and listen to other people's emotions. So before we can convince someone, you don't have to deliberately show it that you are trying to convince someone, but just by sensing someone's emotions, that someone is looking for help, someone is looking for support, and by being there is the natural course of human relations. We sense that someone is going through a difficult time, and we express our concern. We express that yes, we are there to listen to you. Important thing here is how do you do it? How do you share? And it's not just listening to someone and moving on. It's a very important part, and why I chose to um, not only call it an important part, but it's critical when you listen to someone, when you share your emotions, when you support someone. The important and the valuable thing is mindful listening. This is one practice that I follow all the time when I am speaking with other people, when I am sharing my emotions, and when I'm being there for someone. Um Mindful listening is a practice that, if you've heard of it, great. If not, no worries. It's a practice that I've learned and I've practiced for over the years. It's something when you see someone is in need and someone needs your help and someone is looking for support, it needs three things. First, your complete awareness. You aware of the other person's emotion. You know that how this person is feeling. If someone is going through a difficult time and someone is suffering, you know that this person is going through difficult time. He's suffering because of this. Even if you don't have the reason, you know that there is an emotional pain this person is going through. And is this person feeling guilty, or is this person feeling regretful? He has some sort of remorse or any kind of depression or whatever state he's in. The idea is to understand. um, Second, the okay, I'll take a pause for a second. I read to Rahim's message. Okay, so I'm happy if you guys can post your questions, or if you want to, I can finish in 10 minutes and then we can make it an interactive session. You can unmute and share your experiences. We'll be very happy to listen to you and uh, discuss anything you like. Okay, so we are just moving on to the last part. But really, thank you. I admire you coming forward and sharing your ideas. This is something great. So that's the first part of mindful listening, that when you speak to other people, they need your complete awareness. Second part is your attention. When you listen to someone, the way you listen, the way you become present for someone is easily felt. So if you can take an example of your personal lives, if you're speaking with someone and if you're sharing something important, you would expect that the person should be there, the person should mimic your emotions. For example, if I'm sharing something with you now, if I'm feeling excited, if you were listening to me, you would in some way naturally feel excited too. You would also feel happy for me if you were present there, if you were totally invested in the conversation. But on the other hand, if you don't do that, if you were listening but your mind was somewhere else, it was thinking of the dinner you have tonight, or anything else if you're planning. There are thousand things that always keeps our mind busy. The other person will feel that. The other person will notice that you were not there, you were not paying complete attention to it. This is something we take kind of a little bit of humiliation. Um, Humiliation is a strong word, but a mild dose of humiliation, because I was expressing my emotions. I was uh, trusting you to listen to me and to acknowledge or to just be there. But instead, if you don't do that, the person will feel that. The third thing is to have your judgment as low as possible. And when I say judgment, I totally am focused on just listening and not uh, reaching out to any sort of judgment that maybe this is your fault. If you're suffering, maybe this is something you did. And because you are just like that, you always do that, maybe it was your fault. This really irritates a person. It not only irritates, but it'll shut down all the future conversations. It'll shut down the trust that person was investing in you, and in future you will not be um, listening, or you'll not be hearing for this other person. So this is critical. This is something we need to take care of. And mindful listening is more important than we can realize. More people today at workplaces, in their personal lives, um, are occupied with lots of stuff. They have lot many things going on, but try and do this exercise. Next time you speak with someone, try and listen to that person, and try to express the same concern and same, try to reflect this same emotion that the other person is sharing with you. So if the other person is feeling a little sad, try and let your body language express that you're feeling sad too, because that will make a great connection between you two, and that is something which will build a great relationship. Because remember, we do not forget how one person made us feel once. If you talk to a friend who was there when you needed his or her support, you would see that the other person will always remember, and will always um, kind of invest the same level of trust and support to you when you need that person. And it again comes back to the same uh, principle, that the amount of relationship you have is less important, but the quality of relationship you have. Even if you have one friend, but you have a really great bonding and really great um, respect for each other, great care, the relationship is good enough. That is what matters. And if you keep investing your emotions, constantly keep investing your emotions, and you know that the other person is acknowledging that, the other person will likely to invest back in the relation. That something counts for a good relationship, and it'll contribute to a good life. So mindful listening is important. Try and practice it. Let me know how it felt. It has worked wonders for me. It has done such uh, kind. I think I really don't have words to express, but it has made my life so much better, because I do not have large amount of relationships in my life, but very selective ones, but they are of very very good quality. It's because I constantly keep investing the emotions in any relation I have, be it a work or be it a personal life relationship. The second would be sensing emotions. I spoke about awareness. You should be aware of other person's emotions, other person's mental state. Sensing is a very important step. You can speak with someone, and the other person can choose yes or no as a response to your question. But when you look someone in the eye, when you make a great eye contact, and when you show a real, true concern to someone, that what is wrong, what is happening, um, it won't be long that the person can keep hiding his or her emotional state. If someone is really going through something, and you can look in the eye and you can ask the person with so much meaning in your tone, so much compassion in your tone, the other person cannot resist. I would really recommend you try this exercise. This is something very, very important. I've used it, and I never share anything with anyone unless I tried myself, unless I know that it works, and it does work. So if you speak with someone next time, and you see someone who's kind of struggling with something, try and look in the eye, and with a meaningful tone, ask this person, how do you feel? What is happening? You would know that the other person is coming back, he's opening up, because when you speak with someone with a real true concern, the other person start to feel that I'm not the only one. Someone is there who cares for me, even if it's a friend, or even if it's someone you truly uh, don't know very well. But from that day on, see the quality of relationship you two will have. It's only because this person will remember how you made him feel, how you supported him or her when he was looking for support. This is very important. I can't emphasize enough on this point. but try and sense other people's emotion and try and invest what they are expecting someone to. It doesn't specifically have to be you, but they just need anyone. And if you are there at the right time, you'll have a lifelong good relationship. Try it and let me know how it felt, how it worked. Um, One important thing, I've actually made notes and I'm reading, so I make sure I don't miss out anything. Um, okay, yeah, an important part in your work life setup, it's even more important to share and discuss, because when you share things at work, or when you, if you are a leader, or if you have people who report to you, if you have to um, manage a team, it's even more important, because the kind of environment you provide to other people, it decides whether or not they'll open up, whether or not they'll feel comfortable enough to share. When they share, when you listen to them mindfully, you would see that these people are opening up so much. uh, the first thing that will happen is they'll feel mattered. They'll feel that their experiences, their opinions also matter. When they feel like that, they'll become instantly become creative. I've applied this practice. um, I experienced it myself, then I applied it in my own work life, and you would see the quality of relationship you will have with your people, and the gains are quite um, wonderful. The gains you would experience, you would notice, people first thing will start to become more cheerful at work. Their well-being will go to sky. You would see people coming to work. You will see people not calling in unplanned sick, people finding solutions to problems all by their own self, because when they feel mattered, uh, there's kind of a dopamine rush in their mind. It's kind of an emotion that motivates them to do even further. And this is something we all do when we experience something good, when we are happy. And what we do is we start to seek the source of that happiness. So if someone praised me for a good job that I did, I'm more likely to do that job even better, because I now know that my source of happiness is a good job, is a good work that I have done. And I'll keep doing that, because what I'm doing is I'm chasing the source of that goodness. And if you let people share, if you let people open up, people will feel more self-worth. Their self-worth goes high. They also start to contribute further. Their ability to work in a team and support a team, it goes to, whole new levels. So it's not just about your personal life. We all have it's just the setup that changes from personal to work life, but the principles remain the same. If you apply it in your work life, you apply in your um, marital relationship, you apply in your friendship or social connections, it works everywhere. So sharing is the key, but most importantly, being there for someone who can trust you, who can listen to you, um, and listening to someone is even more important. You'll end up with lifelong and most um, vibrant relationship of your life, and that's the real earning. That is something adds meaning to your life. So with that, I'll open up for questions and discussions. Anyone who has a question, please, you're welcome. Anyone? Okay. Either.
Hello. Yes, sir. Are you
Yeah.
hearing my voice?
Yeah, audible now. Yes.
Okay, my question is that means sometimes in our workplace we generally face some sort of communication gap. You can say
Mhm.
some sort
Yeah.
of misunderstanding happens, and at that time we feel very much depressed, or we generally don't know what to do or how to actually overcome that particular situation. And my
Mhm.
particular question is that how to overcome communication gap, or how to actually mitigate the misunderstanding.
Okay, good question. Um, when you see, communication is what it's an expression of your emotions, right? Whatever you are feeling, it's you're putting it into words. That's communication. If you are feeling creative, if you are sharing an idea, if you are having a discussion about something, it's all your emotional experience that you're giving shape to. But emotions are interpreted differently in different cultures and different lifestyles. So when you have a person who kind of misunderstood you, it does not mean that it has to go negative way. It just means that the interpretation, either you did not choose the right words, or your emotions did not align with your words, or it could be the other way. The person who was on the other hand, either the listening side or talking side, he was not able to express emotions in the right path. So the solution to this problem is, when you have heated up arguments, when you have misunderstandings, I always try and cool it off, let it cool off a little bit, because people say things they don't mean when they are not emotionally neutral, when they're not in balanced state of mind. So, for example, if you have a discussion about something and this person misunderstood you, what you would likely do is you will feel disrespected or you'll feel uncomfortable because you're taken wrong, and then you'll end up saying things, or maybe you'll end up kind of being a little angry, or your emotion expression will change. What I would rather do is let it cool off a little bit, give it some time, uh, contemplate a little bit. I would ponder what happened. Did I say something wrong, or did the other person make a mistake? In either way, I would go back a little bit later and try and explain it. Okay, I'm strong enough to accept all my mistakes because I'm a person who likes to learn. So I think I said something I did not mean to. It was a misunderstanding. It was a mistake from my end. So I'm happy to rectify it. And if the problem was on the other person's side, and the person does not even realize that, I think give it some time and let this person experience. Because if the mistake was on the other side and you're trying to resolve the matter with all the respect and all the um, comfort that you're trying to give to that person, if he or she does not recognize that, it's likely that the person is not finding a fault in his or her actions. Remember, people do not change unless they feel a fault in their action, unless they feel they're wrong. So making someone feel wrong is one of the difficult tasks. So that person is likely to behave the same way with someone else, and then he'll have the same experience. So one day, one time, this person will eventually understand that maybe I have been doing it wrong. Maybe I've been saying things the wrong way. But in any case, I wouldn't try to find a solution instantly. I would just let it cool off a little bit and come back to it. But most importantly, I'll be strong enough to accept that I was wrong, and I'm happy to fix it. Right? You can't push other person to be wrong and accept that he is wrong. But you can do everything in your power because you want to be better in your life. You can't be responsible for other person's actions. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your answer.
You're welcome. Okay, Parul has a question. If a past experience or a bad incident affects our present life, how to cure it? Okay. Um, Parul, what I would think in these situations, when you have remorse from past, you have a bad experience because of anything, I think the first thing you should do is come back to the relationship you have with yourself. For instance, if it was a mistake that you made, if it's something you feel uh, regret about, anything that you did, I would be kind to myself. I'll be strong enough to forgive myself, because being kind is the most um, strongest state of mind that one can be in. You can talk to other people, you can be kind to animals, and but being kind to yourself is the first step towards a meaningful and a well-being life and a mental well-being state. So what I would do is I would learn from it. I would forgive myself. I would tell myself that this is something I've done and I'm strong enough to accept it. But I'm also wise enough to not repeat that same thing again. But if it's something that the other person has caused you, this kind of experience, uh, forgiveness is the key, first of all. Even if you think the person realizes or not, if he's or made a mistake, but forgiveness is the key. You should forgive, and most important thing is not forget the experience, not forget the learning. Forgiveness is something, it doesn't have, forgiveness is something, it's not concerning the other person. It's about you letting yourself. It's like a chain, and if you want to fly, it's like a chain that is tying you up to the ground. You want to move on, you want to go ahead, and you don't want to carry that baggage someone else has given to you. So cut that chain, move on, forgive. I read it somewhere, and it's very important uh, in your own life, that be kind, but with a spine, meaning know when to be kind. You can't be kind all the time and let people take advantage of you being kind. uh, I know I've gone few steps ahead of to answer your question, but did I really answer it? Is it something you were expecting?
Thank you so much, sir. I got that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Mm, we've got another question. Um, can you? Okay, great. No worries. By the end of the session, so actually, let me do it now. I'll share my LinkedIn profile link, and anyone who is not feeling comfortable right now is happy to connect with me on LinkedIn. And another reason to connect on LinkedIn is I usually share some practices every other day, second or third day. These practices are a result of my work um, on mindfulness and emotional intelligence. And these are little things we often overlook, and these make a tremendous amount of impact in our life. So we are, make sure you connect with me if you think I've added some value in your life. Uh, we have, so my mentees there, Hadia is there. You have any questions, Hadia? It's been a long time. We haven't spoken.
Um, I have a question, if that
Yeah,
can be entertained. So my name
absolutely.
is Ahmed, and
Mhm.
thank you so much for the insightful presentation. I was paying close attention to the
You're
details that
welcome.
and the examples you shared. I just want to know from you,
Mhm.
as we are maintaining social distancing and
Yeah.
we are requested to follow the quarantine procedures in many different parts of the world.
Mhm.
How would you know as an individual when to stop when talking about exertion? What would be the extent when I know that I should not be pushing more?
Pushing more to share with other people.
Yep.
Okay. I think it's a natural process. If you kind of force it that I have to share, you would not realize the fine line between sharing and not sharing. I think it's like, how do I give an example? It's like it's a natural process. When you feel a need to share, you will realize that, God, I need someone to speak with me right now. You would feel that. But if there is too much going on in your life, and um, when you realize that I'm being a little bit, you know, I'm overthinking and I'm over expressing, I think important step is to write first. If you do a journal, at the end of the day, write your experiences, you would instantly feel a relief, because when you write, you give a physical shape to your emotions, you would feel that all that was swirling around or inside your head has now at least taken a shape, is now at least has a physical shape and physical presence somewhere, and you would instantly feel a relief. And then whatever is left, then you would realize that, okay, fine, I've entered a stage where I've you know expressed my emotions to myself. Now I need someone else to be there As soon as you do that, you would know that this is the time. I think once you are empty in your mind, once you express everything, you would know it. I think it's a natural experience. You don't really have to force it. But one thing you can do is, and I'm happy to share it with you, when you have a mindful listener with you, what you would experience is that it doesn't matter what amount of things you share with that person. If a mindful listener will never be judged of your judgmental of your state, your emotional state. So it, it's always helpful. So as much as you want to share, share it. But what stops us from sharing is the fear that people change all the time. Fear that, it's okay if I share it now, but this person might change tomorrow, and whatever I'm sharing might come back to me as a revelation of my weaknesses or something that the other person might judge me for. So I'm happy that we have. So I started a foundation some time ago, which is specifically focused on listening to people. Um, we have a platform supported by volunteers. I would recommend you go and check out the website and call if you feel a need, because many people, they don't realize that sharing things with others is important, but what's most important is to know who to share with. You can't share with anyone who does not seem to care. So if you need support, here is the link. And I hope I've answered your question. Did I?
Yes, thank you so much for the answer.
Great. So guys, let me know if the LinkedIn link is working. I think I've given you the right link. Okay. Any more questions you guys have?
Hello, sir. Myself, Mohammed Naim Hussain,
Yeah,
and I
no.
have a
Hi.
question.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm thinking about, is there any parallel relation where I can win against dominance using emotional intelligence?
Can you rephrase your question, please? Your voice is not as clear as it.
Uh, how to win against dominance using emotional intelligence?
Okay, dominance in relationships.
Yes.
Okay, very peculiar question. Did not expect it, but I think if you move back 15, 20 minutes in time, and when I was discussing the relationship you have with yourself, you would realize that the kind of relationship you share with yourself, the kind of values you have set up for yourself, the other person will only be a reflection of that. Meaning, if you are giving any reason for the other person to believe that um, you are vulnerable enough to be dominated, you are kind enough, or you are too soft to be dominated in a relationship or in any state, whether it's your work life or your personal life. um, the fact is, if you do not authorize anyone to treat you in a way that is not comfortable to you, no one else can do it. So go back to your mind, spend some time with yourself, and ask yourself, who have you authorized to treat you this way? Is there anyone who should be treating you this way? Is there anyone who has the rights to behave with you in a way that you don't want him to? Instantly, you'll get your answer. Without your authorization, no one else can treat you otherwise. So go back and draw a fence between your self-respect and the relation you have with the other person. So make sure you never let this person cross this line of becoming uncomfortable state to you, and you would see that the person will start to back off, because nobody else can do it if you don't let them do it. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Clear.
As long as emotional intelligence is concerned, let's not confuse emotional intelligence as heart over head, meaning logic, a cognitive strength, and an emotional strength. It's a fusion of both. It's something you use your emotions and you use your cognitive skills to make a decision in your life, right? So that is something, it's difficult to explain that in a 30-50 minute seminar, but if you connect with me, I'll be sharing the complete practices on LinkedIn. I already shared that, but feel free to get in touch with me. So we got any more questions? Joy.
I have a question actually, if that's okay.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yeah, so like there is like something that I'm going through, um, and that is who do I really share my problems with? I mean, I have close friends and everyone that I can talk to, but I
Mhm.
don't know what they're going through. So I don't want to dump my problems and my
Yeah.
concerns and then like totally blast their emotional state off or
Yeah.
something. So
Mhm.
that really like pressurizes me to like, okay, what is the right time for me to really be sharing this? Is like, how is their emotional space?
Mhm.
If able to take what I'm saying and not make it their own problem. So like
Yeah.
because I do that with myself. Like when somebody shares their stuff, like their
Mhm.
problems, and then I get so engrossed in their
Mhm.
problems.
Yeah.
I have my own problem, but now I have like their
Others'
back,
problem. Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like that's something I've really, really been suffering
Okay.
from because I don't know like if they are in that right state to really
Yeah.
listen to my
Okay.
views.
This, I am very, very happy, and thank you so much for asking this question, Joy. Um, this adds so much meaning to the foundation I just mentioned to you. Make sure you check out the link. But as long as answering your questions, when you speak with someone and when you feel a need to share something, the first thing that stops you that from sharing is the fear of being judged, the fear of being mocked, or the fear of feeling unwanted, because people have their own problems, right? The first thing I would do if I was in your place, and this comes from experience again, I have been there where I did not have anyone to speak with. I did not have anyone who could just be there and listen to me and not tell me that I was wrong and not take advantage of my emotional state and my problems. uh, this is a very difficult situation. I completely can connect with you on the same exact level that you are in. But the important thing is sensing other people's emotions. When you look at someone and when you see that this person's body language, this person's facial gestures are kind of reflecting what I'm saying, what I would normally do is I would start light. So if you have a friend and you're not sure if he or she is interested in listening to your problems or your emotional experiences, I would share something very light. You know what? I really had a rough day. So if the other person shows interest, okay, really what happened? And then you feel that they are busy texting or they are listening to you, but they're kind of okay, fine. As long as it's a normal chit chat, it's fine. But when you start to feel that the other person is not involved in the conversation and he's not mindfully listening, you stop there. And I can't really tell you who to speak with, but I can tell you that that's why we have the platform for, that's why we have people working there. So you can if you don't have the link, I'm going to give it to you once again. And just make sure you connect with us there. um, so I understand you are in different country, and I am in different country. The platform has a different number you might not be able to connect with. But what you could do is, I think you can share us your email or WhatsApp contact number, and someone will call you on WhatsApp if that's okay. And this goes for each one of you. If you have someone, if you know someone who needs support, who needs emotional support, feel free to get in touch with us. So we are
Thank
almost, yeah, did I answer your question? Sorry, I
you. Yeah,
forgot to ask.
but like there is something I really want to like again ask,
Hmm.
and be about emotional baggages from other people. Like for me, I would always like no matter how much problem I have myself or like the
Hmm.
things I'm struggling with, I would always
Hmm.
make them listen to others.
Hmm.
That also does affect me like personally because like I have my
Yep.
problems, but listen to them. Like it's because I really want them to be heard and listened to and
Yeah,
not judged. But the thing is, then it also really affects my peace of mind because like then
yeah,
I'm constantly worrying about them. So the thing is, how do you really work with that?
I
Like carry
got the point.
your own back, but also someone
Yeah.
else's.
Yeah. In fact, let me share an example. I have a friend. She is passionate about taking care of animals, especially stray dogs. So at one time, she became so obsessed with them that she lost control of her own life, and she was so invested in these um, stray dogs. So they had there were about 4 or 5 puppies in the winter, and she constantly keep on worrying about those puppies, and at night, especially when they had nowhere to go, and she got herself into a mental disorder, and she reached to a stage when it was impossible for her to continue her work life, her personal life. She was all invested, and this is something it is something positive about you. You are a very nice person, because what you're trying to do is, when you are listening to someone, you're trying to be compassionate. um, you're not just showing empathy to this person by just listening, but instead what you're doing is, you are taking a step further and trying to be there for her, trying to fix whatever is wrong with the person who's sharing with you. You're trying to involve yourself with the other person's emotional state. uh, the solution, the fix to this problem is to draw a line between what you can do and what you cannot do for that person. If I think the problem is arising because you feel that you want to do, but you are not able to do that, whatever help you can do for this person. So what you should do is draw a line, understand that this is something I can do. If you can do without hurting yourself, without disturbing your own mental peace, do it. If you cannot do it, be kind to yourself. See, it's again about relationship you have with yourself. So remind yourself that I have to be kind to myself. I have to respect my own mental well-being, my own emotional health, and then only I can help other people. But if you listen to other people, and if you invest yourself so much in that person's problem, you won't be able to continue doing it for yourself. Forget about the other people. So draw a line. Be kind to yourself. Sometimes be a little angry on yourself. Anger is not a negative thing. Just be angry on yourself a little bit without punishing yourself. Tell yourself that, okay, Joy, this is where you stop. This is where you know that I have done whatever I could do, but from now on, I'm just able to show empathy, not compassion, because I can't help. So draw a line, be kind to yourself. Remember this. I do hope you have answered your question.
Yes, thank you so much. That really did help me a lot.
Okay, great. If you need to discuss it further, feel free to connect with me. So, any more questions? Anyone? Okay, if not, so we'd like to wrap up with that. And once again, I'd like to remind you that if you find the content helpful and if you enjoy the webinars, please donate to the cause. We're sharing the link in the chat. Remember, Wedu is here to support women leaders, and 100% of your contribution goes towards the mentorship of women leaders. And we come up with such valuable webinars and ideas every time. We frequently have webinars. Feel free to connect with us and share the link with other people, so if they feel the need to invest in women leaders, they can contribute to the cause too. So once again, thank you very much. Okay, last question. How do we deal with COVID-19 fatigue? Okay, is it okay if I give you the link to my article? I'll give you quick tips before we wrap up today. COVID-19 is something, right? There is there are two kind of problems. One is that only bothers you. The other one is it bothers the whole world or everyone else, including you. So again, draw a line that what can you do about something? The least you can do about the COVID-19 fatigue is to remind yourself that start living the future tomorrow. Maybe let's live for the day first. The fatigue is there because you are too much involved and invested in future worries. You see, like, I see a frosted future. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I can, what happens if I lose my job? What happens if this happens? What happens if I get infected? All these worries and what if, and something that is concerning future, you're kind of borrowing all the future worries to the present day. If you're fine today, you'll be fine tomorrow. So it's kind of trick your mind that all you have to worry about is today, and that's in a positive way. So eat well, exercise most importantly. If you can't go out, um, something funny. I only need a 10 square feet space to exercise and to keep myself healthy. I've never been to gym, and I don't feel a need to. So make sure you do physical exercises and take care of your well-being. And another important thing, learn something. Learning is the biggest reward you can give to yourself. Browse edX, browse Coursera, browse Udemy, Khan Academy, any place, just learn an art, maybe a musical instrument or something. So once again, we are way over time. Thank you very much for joining in all today, and I hope to speak to you soon. Thanks again.
Hi, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.